Oh, we got some questions. Okay then. Welcome back to A Boring Revolution, your number one news source for everything in regards to The Boring Company. This is your number one news source. This is where you get your positive, fact-based news based on everything that's happened in the last couple of weeks. Thank you everyone who is with us today. Lightning Rod, Oliver Quinn. Let's have a look. Let's see what's going on. Hello from Thunder Bay. Hello, mate. Hello, Johnny B, as always. Mr. Walker, hello. Right then, so what I thought I'd just have a talk about today is what kind of numbers we're going to see out of the actual TBM, how those numbers affect the finish date for the project, and what I actually think is going to happen on site. Because based on the numbers that I've run today, even in the event that we have some troubled periods, some difficult ground, maybe some issues with the machine in terms of reliability, we're still going to easily finish well before the 28th of December 2020, bar some kind of insane fuck up. So let's go and have a look and see what's going on. So, how long will tunnel construction take? I'm getting a cough. Let's hope that's just the one cough. Let's hope so. We don't want to repeat. Right. Firstly, a few assumptions. So, what are we going to assume that's set in stone, essentially, for this job? We've been told during the presentation that this TBM, Lionstorm, can achieve a maximum of 100 foot per day, which is around about 30 meters per day. Now, that is at 100%. That is the machine running at its full capacity. I don't think that, other than maybe a few odd days, it's going to hit that, but it can get very close. The Boring Company has one TBM. Now, people have emailed me saying, oh, there's another TBM on the way and it's going to be there and they're going to be starting that. It's not. There was never any other TBM other than this one and the one that they used to bore the Hawthorne Tunnel. And that machine is basically derelict and will not be utilised again. Maintenance is inevitable. Every machine, especially a machine that is nearly 8 years old, or maybe even a couple of years old, is still going to require maintenance. So inevitably, cutter discs are going to need replacing. Inevitably, valves are going to need replacing. Inevitably, carbide blades are going to need replacing. There's a whole host of things in there. Belts on the conveyor belts are going to need replacing. There's always going to be little bits and bobs that are going to need to be done. There's probably a period of time set about on a particular day when pieces of maintenance will be conducted. However, the amount of time that you set aside is determined by the machine, and we'll look at that ranging from not very much time up to quite a lot of time per week. The route, which we know has changed slightly, we're going to assume for this that it is still 0.827 miles, which obviously doubles up to 1.65 miles. Progress. Now, this is a big assumption because obviously we've got these conditions attached to the Boring Company when it comes to boring adjacent to the monorail. Now, the monorail company are not happy with the Boring Company operating there. There is a drawing that kind of shows the actual tunnel going underneath or almost exactly adjacent to one of the columns, so where the actual piles sit. That can't be correct. I'll show you it in a minute. So let's assume that the Boring Company plays it very safe and just goes for a very steady progress when it gets near to the monorail, and once it gets past that area, it can progress further on at a proper rate. Because we've only got one TBM, they're going to use the TBM to bore both tunnels. That means once it gets from station 1 onto station 3 at the end, they're going to flip that TBM round, including the whole back end, and they're going to set it off again going back the other way. So to actually do that, to actually have a crane there assembling and moving the pieces around, I say it's going to be around 3 to 4 weeks. So we've got, for our numbers, we've got varying degrees of that. Still struggling a little bit with this cough. So, what am I showing you here? This area in green is our station 3. That is where the TBM is going to be turned around. That's a 3 to 4 week job. This area here in maroon, that is the path of the monorail, and that is where we're going to lose some progress in this area in between the new exhibit hall and the north hall. So we're going to lose progress there. The speed of the machine is going to be reduced by 2/3, maybe a half. We've got to take that into consideration when we're trying to work out how many days it's going to take and what date we will finish. This is the drawing that I've been working off, and as you can see, top left, the area in orange, this orange box here, that's where the monorail is. The actual column is right on the corner here. Just, I'm sure you can see my cursor there. There is no cat in Way's hell that those tunnels are going to run that close to it. They're either going to be moved, 15, 20 meters further south of where they are now, or one of the tunnels is going to be moved, 30 meters north. There's got to be a gap of at least 8 to 10 meters between the column and where the tunnel's going to run. Probably more than that, more like 12 meters, for this all to be, acceptable to the monorail company. So we're going to go through 3 scenarios, and then we're going to look at what date we could potentially finish on. So scenario number 1 is our most bullish scenario. Even our most bearish scenario still works bloody well. So the line storm TBM achieves an average of 27.5 meters per day. Maintenance is limited to 9 hours per week. So basically we lose around 1/3 of a day, just over 1/3 of a day, doing maintenance in any given week, which seems quite low in my opinion, but we're just going to go for the assumption on that one. Monorail will cause a delay of around 4 days. Those 4 days is where the machine is limited to 10 meters per day. And we're also assuming that when we get to station 3, that TBM takes 20 whole days to turn around. Even I think that's quite a lot. A well-run contractor should probably be able to do that in under 20 days. I just can't see issues, because you're basically taking a machine apart and you're moving it only very slightly and rotating it 180 degrees, and I just don't think that it's going to take that long if you have done work in preparation for that to be done. So you're all prepped just to basically lift it, drop, move forward, lift it, drop, move forward, assemble, lift it, drop, move forward. And I think 20 days is a bit excessive. I've also included in this scenario that there are no areas of ground found to be overtly difficult. I think there's bound to be a little bit of delay in that respect, but for this one, it's been a very good day. So we're assuming that each tunnel is 1,331 meters long. That is 0.827 miles. So for this first one, we've got 47.4 days, where we're basically boring at our exceptionally good rate of 27.5 meters. Then we have 2 days where we bore at 10 meters. Then the machine is turned around. That takes 20 days. Then we go back the other way, 47.4 days. And then we've also got another 2 days where we're going back underneath that monorail. All in all, it is only 118.8 days, so 119 days. If we assume that construction started on the 15th of November 2019, which it did, it's not really an assumption, it's a fact. We will therefore finish on Friday the 13th, which is never a good omen, the 13th of March. So we've got April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. All that time to build our stations, to test the system. And that is based on us being below our 30 metre maximum for the machine. Now, it's maybe a bit ambitious that, but I think we can get fairly close to that. Our second scenario is slightly different. We're going for a little bit less. What I think is a bit more of a reliable figure. So we've got Linestorm achieves an average of 22.5 metres per day. Maintenance limited to 15 hours per week, which I think is pretty reasonable. The monorail concerns caused just 6 days of delay. I don't think that's too bad. Turnaround achieved in just 23 days, so we've extended that by another 3 days. We lose 1 week due to pathway obstructed with small area of non-cohesive fractured rock. So we end up in an area where essentially our progress is badly restricted. We have to either maybe pre-grout the area or move the machine at an incredibly reduced rate to get through that area. Maybe even have to hand excavate some of it. So we've just put in a 1 week delay in that way. But even when you put all those figures in there and you drastically reduce the amount you're boring on average per day, we're still finishing in April. So at 58.8 days at 22.5 metres, we lose, we have 3 days of restricted boring underneath the monorail. That's 3 times 10. We have a 23-day turnaround for the TBM. 57.8 days, again, going back the other way. So we're turning the machine around and then going back the other way. Then we've got 3 days at 10 metres whilst we go underneath the monorail. And then we have a 7-day period where essentially nothing happens and progress is limited, severely limited, until we can get past that bad patch of ground. But still, we're in April, so May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. All we need to do is finish this job on the 28th of December, 2020, and we have immense amounts of time, and that's 22.5 metres. That's well below what I think we're going to achieve, and includes a 1 week period where basically nothing happens. Now, scenario number 3. This is like a worst case scenario that I could think of. I think that we'll achieve well above 19 metres, but just for this scenario, let's assume that we have some poor performance with the machine and with those operating it. Linestorm achieves 19 metres per day. Maintenance is limited to 24 hours per week. So you have 1 day a week, maybe a Sunday, where essentially you're just doing maintenance to keep the machine going, and thus that drastically reduces the average per day, because if you factor in the week and then reduce that day. The monorail concerns cause an incredible 10 days of delay. I just cannot see it happening, but you never know in these kind of disputes. Turnaround achieved in 27 days. Two weeks, so we lose 2 weeks as well due to pathway obstructed with large area of non-cohesive fractured rock. So we've doubled the amount of time we've lost. So even with all those delays, the slow progress, the time lost going underneath the monorail, the machine stuck, we still finish in May. That's with 19 metres, which I believe is a drastically underutilization of that TBM. So 67.4 days times 19. Then we have 5 days going underneath the monorail at 10 metres. Then we have 27 days turning the TBM around, which is very excessive. Then, as we're going the other way, we have 67.4 days at 19 metres. Then we have also another 5 days where we stuck going underneath the monorail, doing 10 metres. And then we have 14 days of absolutely no activity whatsoever. It's a lost fortnight, not a lost week. That should have been updated. In total, 171 or 172 days if we round it up. We will still finish on Tuesday the 5th of May, 2020. So yet again, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. It's not going to take months and months to build these underground stations. If they had any sense at the Boring Company, they would have already started these underground stations. But they must believe they have so much time that it's not necessary. That's all I can conclude. But for this job to work absolutely perfectly, they need to be building things concurrently. So Underground Station 2 and Underground Station 3 should already be under construction. However, as we know from people who have visited the site and taken pictures, there is nothing going on at the moment at Station 2 and Station 3. It's only Station 1 where we have our launch pit and things are going nicely. So, in summary, what have we learned from this exercise, as it were, looking at these numbers? We have a ton of time. Absolutely ton of time. Even with mistakes and poor ground and poor machine performance, we have so much time. So much time to finish this. It'll be. I would be very, very surprised if this finishes late. Even if it's just late by a few days, I'd be amazed. Plenty of recovery time in the event of tough ground or mistakes. If there's some kind of mishap with the machine, maybe there's some kind of issue where something fails, there's still the time in the program for that issue to be rectified and then the machine to continue onwards. The underground station should be a piece of cake. Again, it's just secant piles, ring beams, props. These are well-known pieces of civil engineering, and there's plenty of good contractors in the Las Vegas area, so I can't really see those stations taking more than 100 days to build. They could start now. They could have all 3 stations started, from Monday onwards, and then have them finished before the end of February if they really, really wanted to. But they've got time in the bag. Maybe they're waiting until the first length of tunnel is completed before they start building those stations. Future machines, so Proof Rock should be capable of 50 meters per day once modified. Definitely think that even just 5 to 10 meters per day of additional progress makes an immense amount of difference. And especially if you have multiple machines and you can stack them up and daisy chain them, then you can make huge amounts of progress per week, per month, per year. Tunneling is a discovery process, a lot of data to collect on the way. Every time you dig a tunnel in a new area, so there aren't really any tunnels in Las Vegas, every time you dig a tunnel, there's a mountain of data there for you to peruse through and exploit and analyse. And once you've analysed it, there are definitely areas for improvement, definitely areas that you can highlight as poor ground, which can be maybe pre-grouted. Maybe you can modify the machine to better dig through these areas of poor ground. There's definitely areas for mass improvement once they get this thing going, if they intend to focus on Las Vegas for the next 5 to 10 years. This is the most recent picture of it. It's about 4 or 5 days old, this picture. But as you can see, progress is going very nicely. We'll look at the live stream in a bit and see in terms of what they're doing. They have been moving some gantries into the shaft, so the back end of the machine. So each gantry is around about 18 foot long, maybe 20 foot long. So every time they drop one of those into the shaft, you know that the TBM has progressed forward another 20 foot. So that's beautiful. So that it's all good news, excellent news. This week has been all about, as you know, the Cybertruck, this beautiful thing. It looks better at this 45-degree angle than side on, in my opinion, but it's a truck. What a beautiful thing. Someone asked me, can this fit inside the Boring Company tunnel? Yes, it can. Absolutely. Remember that suspension can be modified. They could use smaller wheels. They could lower the vehicle. There's a lot of things they could do with this chassis. All in all, it's a great thing. I think it's a beautiful vehicle, and hopefully be able to try one out one day. Let's see what's going on. So, questions. Loading like a railroad turnhouse. Well, you lift it with a crawler crane. Very true. Well, they're not. The thing is, these companies like Henrik Connect make a lot of money. They don't need to change their practices when they're making so much money. So, in their eyes, this is a pointless endeavour. But for the Boeing company and for communities that are affected by soul-destroyed traffic, this technology could be game-changing. I'd hope so, Oliver. I don't believe there is. I don't believe there is a bonus. There is not much carrot and there is a lot of stick. If you've read the contract, they have to prove that this system can move 4,300 people per hour, and I think that's going to be quite tough. I think achieving the first kind of milestone of like 2,000 per hour should be relatively easy. It's when they can get above 4,300. Hi from Cologne, Germany. Following progress tightly. Get well soon. Thank you. Yeah, I'm kind of like 98% of the way there. I'm feeling a bit better. It's just I'm still a little bit a tiny cough that won't go away and a little bit bunged up. Not all the time. So it's kind of just sort of a lingering kind of flu. But hopefully it'll be done before Christmas. It's just a bit annoying. It's not really that bad, but it's just annoying. Yeah. I think the Model 3 is not really suitable for use in the Boeing Company tunnels. They need something like the Model X, and they can modify that to hold 10 to 12 people. To make this a more effective system, they need vehicles that are quite reasonably long and that can accommodate at least 10, 12, maybe even 14 people, because it just makes it so much easier when you can put more people in a vehicle. But also, there's no point having some kind of 28-foot long vehicle if it can't be used safely on the streets above. It's got to be reasonably compact, reasonably nippy and spacious, but it's also got to be pretty efficient and have a good range. So something like the Model X, maybe modified so it can hold 10 people, that would be perfect for this. Right, so I think I'm going to call it a day based on what I've been reading here on the questions. Thank you everyone who's joined me. I'm so very close to getting 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. If you have not already done so, please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please, follow me on Twitter. Check out the Instagram. We are doing quite good things with this channel. I'm relatively happy with how things are going. I really like Ecamm Live. This obviously the production now is on Ecamm Live. I just think it's a great system. I can do so much more with this, and I think it's a very reasonable price per month when you consider I'm doing maybe 4 or 5 videos per month. When you divide that up, that's quite a decent rate. So, any last questions before I terminate the feed? Thank you for the likes. That was beautiful. Very beautiful. The Cybertruck can definitely fit inside the tunnel. Even if it was close, they could make some slight modifications. Okay, I think we're going to call it a day, guys. How are we doing? 25 minutes. Not too bad. Not too bad. I'm 8. You're 8 stone. You must be tiny. Alright, I'm going to shoot off. Thank you very much for joining me, everyone. Really appreciate all the people tuning in, especially the regular people. And if you're interested in this space, please join us on Discord and join in the community. and we can answer your questions. Thank you, Edmar. I'm getting better. I'm nearly there. I'm a lot stronger. Right, and remember, guys, don't be boring. See you soon. And go reserve a Cybertruck. It's a great bargain. Thank you. Goodbye.